Well, beautiful day here in North Carolina, but we're right back in the hot weather.
Yeah, it went from cool to hot again and very hot. I guess
Yes.
yeah, it's August for you. All right. So our topic today, which is very, very important, why fear of running out of money is pushing Americans off the sidelines, the retirement confidence crisis, and how to take back control. Alan, recent reports show that many Americans are delaying retirement, not because they can't retire, but because they're afraid to. Why do you think this fear is so widespread right now?
Well, as you said right at the top, the number one fear in retirement is running out of money before you run out of life. And people are living longer now. Most financial plans only go for 30 years. My plans go to age 120. My plans have guaranteed income. But the big thing is people, they're not planning. You've got to have a plan. Like I've always said, you've got to have a plan for everything you do. People spend more time planning their summer vacation than they do their retirement. I mean, it sounds stupid, but that's the truth. And the other thing too is people relying on a 401k for the retirement. That's not guaranteed, and it compounds all the risk in retirement. And we need to think outside the box of conventional financial planning when it comes to retirement, because as I've always said, it's not about rate of return in retirement. It's about distribution of your assets.
What are the biggest financial fears driving this hesitation? Market crashes, inflation, taxes, healthcare costs?
Well, actually, there's a combination of all because nobody can predict the market, but the market always seems to come back. But one of the problems, if you retire in a down year of the market when your money is all in a 401k, you are going to encounter sequence of returns risk. And I've gone over this with many times on our podcast. But 99% of people out there, do not understand what sequence returns risk is. Basically, what it is, if you have a down year in the first 2 to 3 years of a 10 or 20-year period, as compared to the last 2 to 3 years of a 10 or 20-year period, you're going to be out of money anywhere from the fifth to the ninth year. Because what happens, let's say that you've got $1 million in your stock portfolio. Now, they say a 4% distribution rate is supposed to be a safe distribution rate to last for 30 years, indexed at 3% for inflation. But actually, it's down to 2.8. But let's say it's the 4%. That's $40,000 a year. Well, Neil, what happens if you lose 10% the first year? Now that $1 million has gone down to 900,000 minus the $40,000 you took out, minus the fees you pay that financial advisor, whether you make money or not. And Neil, what would happen if 2008 happens again, where people lost 38 to 52% of their portfolio? They're going to be out of money in the fifth year. They have no idea about this. It's just one thing after the other that people aren't told about when it comes to retirement. Because, like I said, it's not about rate of return retirement, it's about distribution of your assets.
So, so true. Only about 1 in 4 Americans work with a financial advisor, yet studies show that guidance significantly boosts confidence. Why do you think more people aren't getting the help they need?
Well, first off, they're afraid of the fees. They see how much the fees. Do you realize, Neil, people with 401ks, 58% of people don't even think there's a fee on their 401k. The average fee in a 401k, according to Forbes magazine and Lap Times, is 2.99%. People have less than half of their money when it comes to retirement, and then they get hit with taxes anywhere from 20 to 55%, and they have no idea about this. It hits them like a brick wall. But people need to have a competent advisor, hopefully a certified financial fiduciary. I'm a certified financial fiduciary. I'm also a certified tax and business advisor. So I can help people with their taxes in retirement too. Because taxes is a huge hindrance when it comes to retirement. And I teach, like I said, I teach people to think outside the box of conventional financial planning, and I show them the strategies the wealthy and the banks have been using for years, and that's using cash value life insurance when it's properly structured.
Can you walk us through a case where someone came to you feeling unprepared and left feeling secure and ready to retire?
Well, I can tell you one that was just in my office today. He's got about $800,000 in a 401k. I said, whose is that? He says, what are you talking about, Alan? He said, it's mine. There's my account. There's my name. I said, no, you got to partner with this. It's called Uncle Sam. Federal taxes are going to eat 24% of that right off the top. And then you've got state taxes here in North Carolina. I think it's over 5.5% or something like that. So basically, you've lost 30% right off the top. So he said, I didn't realize that because it's taxed at ordinary income. And I asked, I said, what about the risk in retirement? He said, what are you talking about? Because his financial advisor had never told him about sequence returns risk, longevity risk, never mentions market risk, never mentions tax risk, never mentions at all long-term care risk, which is absolutely huge. Right now, it costs $50,000 to $200,000 a year for long-term care, and people aren't prepared for it. And it'll affect 70% of all Americans in the United States. 40% of people on long-term care right now, Neil, are between the ages of 18 and 64. That's crazy. But, so I restructured his whole portfolio. Like I said, it's not where you have your money. It's not how much money you have. It's where you have your money and how you use it. It's about distribution of your assets. And again, like I said, refer back to that fixed indexed annuity where you only need a portion of that annuity. As an example, Neil, you've got $1 million in that stock portfolio at a 4% distribution rate. That's not guaranteed. You'd only need approximately $650,000 of that stock portfolio and put it into this fixed indexed annuity to give you the same $40,000 a year guaranteed for the rest of your life. I don't care if you live to 120. Even if that accumulation value runs out, you're still guaranteed by the insurance company to receive that income. And on top of that, Neil, when you have an increase in the indexing strategy, your payments go up. We're not tied to the market. You have a contractual guarantee that you'll never lose money due to a market downturn, because we do not use the market to grow our policies. We use indexing strategies such as the Barclays Dynamic Balance Index, the Euro Index. There's over 175 different indices, and that's what we use to grow our policies. And the big thing, like I said, it's guaranteed income that you cannot outlive. And if you happen to die, and if you're married, it covers both spouses. It's 0.5% less, but the insurance companies are insuring 2 lives. But think about that. You get an increase in income on a depleting asset. You can't do that with a stock portfolio. And it eliminates not all the risk in retirement, but it eliminates the number one fear in retirement, running out of money before you run out of life. It eliminates sequence returns risk. And this also leaves you with $350,000 to pay the taxes on that. You'll have money left over probably, but if you do that, then there's no required minimum distribution. It does not affect the taxation of Social Security or the means testing for Medicare Part B, which will be in the thousands of dollars per year. And you don't have to worry about market risk. It eliminates that. It eliminates government risk. I mean, it's a great financial move, but people don't do it because their financial advisors don't ever tell them about it. And that's why I tell people, is your financial advisor looking out for your best interest or their best interest and their companies? Because they're paying a fee whether you make money or not.
What are the must-do steps for someone in their 50s and 60s who's feeling unsure about retirement right now?
Well, the first thing they need to do is stop contributing to a 401k. Take that money they're putting in that 401k and put it into cash value life insurance, whether it's whole life or index universal life. Because number one, you're going to have a death benefit for pennies on the dollar. It's going to be in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, that you can use for long-term care tax-free. So it either mitigates or eliminates that. You're going to have money in retirement it can be tax deferred, just like a 401k if it's set up in a proper plan, like a defined benefit plan. But it grows tax deferred. You get your distributions tax free. It does not affect the taxation of Social Security or the means testing of Medicare Part B. You can become your own bank. I've done this for over a decade and a half, borrowing from yourself, compounding money for yourself instead of financial institutions, and eliminating the effective interest costs you pay on the money you borrow. And 99% of people, to include CPAs, attorneys, and financial advisors, have no idea what effective interest cost is. But it's absolutely huge. And when people find out about it, my God, Alan, why hadn't anybody ever told me about this before? All this stuff ought to be taught in high school, Neil, but it's not. I have doctors with PhD degrees in accounting and finance. They don't understand what I'm saying, and I teach some of their classes. But the other thing, Neil, is when this cash value life insurance policy, whether it's indexed or whole life, I've got 5 index universal life policies, and I got 3 whole life policies. I bought my last policy when I was 68. I'm 72 now. All my policies are paid for. If I wanted to, 2 years ago, I could have taken $100,000 a year out in policy loans that are tax-free. Like I said, do not affect the taxation of Social Security, the means test of Medicare Part B. And I got $1.5 million that I can use for long-term care or a legacy for my family, which is tax-free. It's the greatest wealth transfer vehicle available. There's no other financial product that can perform, protect, and give the benefits that properly constructed cash value life insurance policy can do. And it's not too late, especially if you're starting out in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. My God, you get to the point, Neil, get a load of this. Compounding. When you get to that 6th, 7th, 8th year, that compounding goes straight up. And that's what makes this such a great vehicle. But it eliminates all the risk or mitigates the risk in retirement that a stock portfolio only compounds.
For those afraid of outliving their money, what's your message to them?
Give me a call. Give me a call at 910-551-1046. I don't charge for my counseling services. It is all about education. And that's the reason I got into this, because of the tragic things that happened to my family. And cash value life insurance basically saved my son from bankruptcy, and it took a huge strain off of me. I will teach you the financial strategies the wealthy and the banking institutions have been using for years. I can show you how to become your own bank. I can eliminate or mitigate the risk in retirement that you're facing right now with a stock portfolio. I can reduce your healthcare costs, which are astronomical. There's many things that I can do. Tax savings. I'm a certified tax and business advisor, and I can help people plan for their taxes and eliminate taxes and possibly retrieve taxes they paid for the last 3 years through a tax strategy that I do with my practice. There's many things out there that people don't know. They've never been told about it. And when they find out about this, why hasn't my financial planner or my CPA or attorney ever told me about it? It's because they don't know. It's all about education, Neil.
All right. Best place to go is to call you at 910-551-1046 or email you at strategicwealth, the number 0 @gmail.com, or go to strategicwealthstrategies.com. Appreciate it, Alan.